Hi, everyone, and welcome to day 5 of our low code marathon. We have a tremendous agenda for you today, and it's pretty packed. So I won't waste any time getting right into it. So day 5 is all about how to create a low code company, aligning your people, processes, and technologies across your entire organization. And for our agenda today, we have some key presentations as you can see popping up on the screen now. So we have 6 sessions starting with low code powered future. And again, aligning your people and technologies to drive better end user experience. We'll be talking a little bit about AI powered low code, and as well as hearing from our tremendous customer, Ivy Ventures. We'll be having a live interview session with them. And also, we'll be joined by our partner in Canada, managing Saskatchewan Blue Cross. And he's going to tell you how they fully transform their business processes with low-code technology. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with how low-code and AI helps to improve customer experience. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, well, before we get started, we forgot. I don't want to forget to announce our quiz winners. So, each day of the marathon, we've been conducting quizzes and giving out prizes, and today is no different. So I'd like to start with our quiz from session 4. And if you remember, and if you were in attendance, the question was, what percentage of businesses build web applications utilizing citizen development tools within a year? The correct answer was 79%. So those of you that chose 79%, you were correct. We had a lot of right answers in the queue, so we had to randomly select 3 winners. First winner is Sophronia. The next winner is Anwar Al Musabide. I'm sorry if I murdered your name. And number 3 was Srisan. So you will be contacted in email with your prizes. Congratulations. And just a reminder to the audience that we will be conducting another quiz at the end of today's session and announcing winners tomorrow. So again, great incentive to join more and more sessions of the low code marathon. And including some more incentive into the mix here, we have our Run the Race and Win a Prize promotion going. So we will be running a promotion for individuals that have attended 10 sessions within the low code marathon, and we will be selecting 3 winners at the end of the sessions to take home this great prize of an iPad. So again, we're logging in these sessions, and at the end of the event, you'll be selected as a winner. If you're chosen, we're going to be increasing your chances by the amount of days that you spend with us here in the low code marathon. All right. So I jumped the gun before, but now let's get started. Okay, and for our first session, our trendsetter session, we have low code powered future, your virtual tour around digital first organizations. And I'm joined by my dear friend, Michael Dukan, who is our sales director in America for Creatio. So Mike, I will turn it over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. Bonjour, guten tag, bom dia, buenos dias, buenas tardes, wherever you're located. Welcome. Welcome to a new session and new day of our low code marathon. I'm a sales director with Creatio, and I'm very proud and happy to present to you the first session of today. So let's get things started. We're going to spend about the next 20 minutes or so together, and we're going to talk about low code powered future and how you can build a low-code organization and a digital-first organization in your company? So a quick intro on who we are at Creatio and what we do. So Creatio is a software technology vendor. We specialize in CRM, process management, process automation, and low-code, no-code technology. We are a global company and we are proud to have more than 650, if not close to 700 employees around the globe. And we have a large network of 700 partners, system integrators all around the globe and covering presence in more than 110 countries. We also are highly recognized by key industry analysts such as Gartner and Forrester. Imagine any type of quadrants around Salesforce automation, business process management, customer engagement, and we are very often very well positioned in those quadrants and waves. And our mission at Creatio is to help you accelerate with your digital transformation initiative, leveraging low-code and no-code technology. What is a low-code and no-code company? You probably see and hear a lot of different definitions and understanding, but this is one easy one that you can have in mind. A low-code, no-code company is a digital-first organization where every employee can become a citizen developer, and they can create new application and processes leveraging low-code technology without having any IT and coding skill required. There are 5 essential criteria to help you measure and achieve your goal to become either a software company or a low-code, no-code company. You want to be digital driven, digital first culture. How important is it to you to innovate and provide the best customer experiences, both to your employees, but also to your partners and customers? The concept where everyone is a developer, or everyone can be a developer, you're probably going to hear it a lot, and we put a lot of emphasis on this, but this is a strong differentiator to success. Applications that can be rolled out in days, weeks, not months or years. This is the era where we are, and it is possible, okay? We talk about CRM. We all have different experiences where implementation of CRM or even other type of integration or application usually would take a long time. So these times can change today, and hopefully, again, as soon as right after this presentation. Processes needs to be orchestrated efficiently and smoothly, and we can also spend some time here, and where you want to ensure that the technology, the people, and the processes are well integrated and connected together. There are 3 core components that are also driving those initiatives. You've probably seen other presentations from our low-code marathon. We talk a lot about the 3 pillars of people, process, and technology. Technology comes in third. It does not come in first or second, okay? It's very often misunderstood or thought that technology is a problem solver. No, technology is an enabler to help you solve your challenges and your problems, but it has to be well positioned based on how your processes are and how you want your processes to be, and who is going to drive those initiatives, both from the evaluation to the implementation. And these pillars are fundamental. People in the company, key assets for driving low-code companies. You have citizen developers and pro developers. Let's start with pro developers. You have Java coders, .NET, Python, a multitude of coding skills that are not yet to disappear, but where you could see, for instance, a shortage in some resources. The challenge when it's driven only by IT is how adaptable and maintainable is the system if your developers leave the company. Another type of population that is emerging that we encourage you to empower are the citizen developers. You have end users that could be just a sales representative using his CRM for his lead and opportunity management, but you could also have power users, folks that are maybe more tech savvy and also well understand the idea of automating business ideas or processes and can bridge the gap between IT and business. Creatio can cover the entire population that goes from no code to low code or citizen developer to business led developer, providing that framework of coding extension points for IT teams and low code, no code pre-built out of the box for business teams. What can you automate with low code? Well, let me tell you a lot. And even this slide does not summarize the multitude of use cases that you can think of. Okay, I'm not going to teach you how and where and what processes you need to automate. I'm just going to give you some areas to invite you to think about while you want to drive your innovation in low code driven strategy. You can think of anything around requests, approvals, where you have exchange of information between people and where a system does not track the activity. Very often the system are good at doing either sales or marketing or HR management or travel expenses. But the connectivity between those applications and what happens between the people in the middle is hard to govern. So perfect example could be a new employee. So an employee onboarding program is a process itself. A request for a discount on a sales proposal or reviewing a master agreement for sales negotiation is a process itself. Streamlining manufacturing operations and building pharmaceutical products or building trucks or devices is also a process. So you could either think of task management, approval, workflows, document management, but also have an idea of within a business unit or for the collaboration between all these business units that you can see in this slide. And with processes and technology has to come agility. Okay, so a good sentence and I like to share is Charles Darwin, who said that it's not the strongest of the species that survive, it's the one that is the most adaptable to change. Okay, we all are living in a virtual world. This is COVID today. Is the way that we are operating and working today similar than it was a year ago or even 6 months ago? I personally feel that our processes are changing all the time and that we need to be quicker, more adaptable, hence wanting to have that system to sustain it. There are several requirements or capabilities in choosing the right technology, or you can think of areas that are going to help your team accelerate in building those applications. Graphical tools, visually modeling. Think of a Visio. Imagine you designing a process, connecting people and process, or people and systems. Drag and drop capabilities, security, making sure that all the devices can be leveraged using those technologies. Out of the box functionality, the more you can have pre-built in the platform, the more time you can save in either designing a process or integrating with the backend. It's not only now how to navigate or drive a very powerful car. We want to give you a lot of options and even already pre-built accelerating features that help you drive faster your car for innovation. They are growing and ongoing challenges, growing IT backlogs, lack of IT skilled developers. Think about if a team or someone develops a custom application and that person leaves the company or disappears, how are you going to take over that technology? And that's very often and interesting when we talk with most of our customers is they invest 3 to 5 years in one technology and then they maybe reach the end of a cycle or a challenge in being able to make this platform adapt, either because it was not maybe low code or no code driven, or they didn't have the right people to do it. Misalignment between business and IT, it's very important as well. Who knows better the business than business people? But who knows better than governance and security than IT teams? Hence the collaboration being very important on both of these teams. To summarize, of benefits of becoming a low-code and no-code company for people, they can be, and you want them to be curious, creative, digital savvy, and highly productive. Efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. Okay. We can be the most efficient as we want. We will never be efficient enough, but it's a goal when we want to go to that outcome. For the processes, being efficient, again, agile, aligned, and orchestrated. And for the software, one that is responsive, adaptable to different devices, and with an up-to-date technology that you can deploy at a lower cost. If you delegate that to citizen developers, you will not have to have an IT dedicated budget for product development and implementation, and that can be seamlessly integrated. Quick poll for you, all attendees and members. Why do you think organizations are embracing low code, no code development today? So I will let the group respond and share their insights, and we will share those results also shortly during the event. Okay. Let me give you some live examples or insights on what you can think about from different departments. Okay, so we've selected a few. The first is a sales department or a marketing department. What low code can help you do is to build real-time dashboards and increase your customer acquisition and retention rates. Not only to better manage your operation, but to have a better view and to be able to measure, say, who are my top customers? Which one bring the most revenue? What was the cycle? How happy or unhappy they are with the interaction that we have with them, or even with the result and post acquisition. You can leverage machine learning, and we provide embedded AI and machine learning. What great example for a sales team is based on product and services sold to an organization. You can have a best recommended product based on previous history and previous orders from similar customers in the same industry or in another segmentation. You want the systems to be easily configurable and adaptable to your process. That, in a constant changing environment, like as I mentioned, our process can change potentially, I hope not every day, but they can change on a very regular basis. For a customer service department, okay, so think post-sales or operations department, you can also provide self-service usage or self-service portals, okay? We all love to learn by ourselves. Even in the choice of a technology, more than half of the evaluation is done prior to engaging with a sales rep, okay? We know that customers do not always love talking with sales rep, especially early in their evaluation process, because they don't want to be influenced. But self-service is key. I have an issue. I would rather resolve the issue myself, and I will call my customer support if I don't have any other issue. Okay. Connectivity, empowering multi-channel engagement using social media, using APIs, connectivity for interrupted services. You want to produce and reduce response time, measure SLAs, provide 24/7 support in some cases. Machine learning can also help you with predictability around different operations and analytics from an end-to-end perspective as well. And for an IT department, okay, we talk about citizen developer, IT is still important. They can empower power users or citizen developer to bridge the gap between business and IT. They can learn and leverage low-code technology. It doesn't mean that IT loves to code, but they also love to not having to do the same thing over and over again. So reusability of the components, leveraging low code is going to be important for him. Having a centralized governance. I mentioned and talked about shadow IT. The more you give to business people, the more risk you have of having local applications. But you can have a centralized platform shared by business teams and IT teams that are going to reassure IT that you're going to have maybe one source of data or one governance or security compliance to make sure that we reduce and avoid that shadow IT. Okay. So how to create a local company, just to summarize, and I'll also present a couple use cases and then we can go into Q&A. First, bring the everyone is developer culture in the company. It starts from people, identify the personas that are curious, that want to be innovative, and that want to, be sponsored in driving those initiatives. And you can give them also the right tools so they can be free and creative in bringing those next generation applications. Incorporate low code to your software strategy. Involve and include IT teams as well. It is not just a driven or a business driven solution. You can create governance policies. Okay, you want to make sure that leveraging the right tools, using the right processes, and how documented it is, it's going to help the teams of tomorrow as well to make sure that everything is efficient. You can create centers of excellence as well, combining citizen developer with pro developers for brainstorming sessions, for governance on best practices, on making sure that you can learn and leverage and share your ideas. Okay, it's not a one on someone from sales or marketing. Maybe what the sales team is doing in a very timely manner can help the finance or HR team to say, oh, we had not considered that we could even have business users in making the changes and automating our processes directly. And last but not the least, continuous improvement, collecting feedback. We are at the start of this era that is here to last for a very long time. So we are humble to share practices, and we are humble enough to share feedback to know how we can best improve ourselves in a constant, regular basis. Okay, so a couple real life examples. The first one is ENT Credit Union, which is an insurance and credit union company in the US, where their project and intention was to deploy a next generation CRM, this is how they call it, to improve member and employee experience, improve communications, track leads, but also empower their indirect members, not directly the ones that were for part of their employee headcount or sales teams. And so we've helped them meet two needs: to manage all the entire business relationship operations effectively, improve the onboarding of those new external members and partners of third-party sales. And this has been done, at least on the first application, deployed in just 3 months. And we served also as a centralized platform for the entire automation of sales and lead management processes. The second use case is a very interesting one from the government in Israel, the Ministry of Transport and Road Safety, that needed also to have an agile system to manage their country roads infrastructure and transportation network. Okay, so they were very complex driven as well, and as to the extent of what they wanted to do. And what they've done is they've leveraged low code and use process management and CRM to digitally coordinate the operation between the team, to accelerate the launch of their new project and further developments that's going to last for years and years. So managing infrastructure, managing their products, providing visibility at all stages was an important and very different asset as well. And so for our Q&A session, I'm happy to take some questions for you. Good, so I see one first question here that is, how easy can I use a low code without having to code? Okay, so we talk about low code and no code. So if you are a citizen developer, if you are a marketing member or a sales member and you don't have any coding skills, what you can do is, on top of managing your operations, you can automate and you can make changes on how you want the application to look just using drag and drop and built-in capabilities. Okay. We also, for instance, use marketplaces and extensions that you can For instance, if you want to leverage social media for multi-channel communication or add surveys, there's a lot of Lego pre-built add-ons that you can do without coding. Okay, it's a great platform for not only users but also managers and leaders to have a global view and imagine a system that is shared without the entire organization. But you, as an individual, you can, with the fields and customization, make sure that the application is the way that you want the information to be seen. Okay. Second question. Oh, that's a good one. Where can or what is recommended to have the data stored when it comes to managing those type of operations? That is interesting because it will really depend on the nature of the industry, but typically we offer two deployment models. You can do a SaaS model, which is hosted usually with us on AWS, on Amazon, or Microsoft, or you can also have an on-premise. Okay. And last question, if you had one tip to share about what you think will drive success for the next generation of software companies or in building and creating software companies in your organization, it's something I shared in the presentation. I really think it's a combination of the empowerment of the business users. And it's interesting enough to see that it's very well underused today, with the ability to make changes smoothly and efficiently. Perfect. So we've reached the end of our 20 minutes, just a little bit above. I hope that this session was insightful. If you would like to connect and talk further, you can find me on LinkedIn, or I'm sure from our entire agenda. I wish you a great rest of the day and enjoy the following sessions. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mike. Another inspiring speech. I hope the audience really was able to derive some value out of that. That's just a tremendous discussion with Michael. And that brings us to our next presenter for our practical discussion. I'm pleased to announce Melissa Jerkois. And Melissa has over 20 years in the tech industry, ranging from everything from a software engineer to her current role as Chief Customer Experience Officer at Adaptation. So welcome, Melissa.
Thanks, Eric. Really happy to be here.
Excellent, excellent. And Melissa and I were talking prior to the live session here. You spend a lot of time and passion trying to have a positive impact on the decline of women in STEM education and careers. So just a tremendous effort working around the globe with different organizations. So I applaud you for that. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's definitely a passion of mine, for sure, for obvious reasons.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'll turn the floor over to you, and I'll let you proceed with your presentation.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Eric. Well, welcome everybody. I know this event has been ongoing now for about a weekend, I think. So this is like the second week of this marathon. Loving the structure of how Creatio is doing this. So kudos to the team there that's coordinating this event. Really excited to be here. Again, I'm the Chief Customer Experience Officer at Adaptation, which is a small startup here in the state of New Hampshire. But I also co-founded, to Eric's point, an initiative and a bit of a startup in its own right called Diversified Thinking, to really promote and elevate the amount of action around diversity and in tech specifically to meet the level of conversation. So I've spent a lot of time with a lot of conversations around that. And actually this talk is somewhat intertwined with that, because I believe diversity in your users and diversity in general creates an amazing experience. So we'll touch on that a little bit around like what your customers look like and things like that. But I'm here to talk to you about how the people matter as much as the technology, and maybe not maybe even more. So I might challenge the bit that, we're all super jazzed about low code these days. Like, it is definitely the buzzword, and there's lots of metrics to prove that. I think it's like by 2025, the majority of development will be done by citizen developers using low code platforms, right? It's like amazing. And I think it's great. But what I want to caution and basically bring to the table today is, don't forget about those people that are using the things that you're building, right? And so that's where we want to focus today. So that being said, we're really excited about technology, and we want to be able to show the amazing things that we do. But this is a hard truth that we all need to accept. And it's that, as technologists, again, like Eric mentioned, I've been in the space of tech for over 20 years. And I have been a builder, I've been a designer, I've been a product manager, I've been a solution architect, and most recently working with customer experience kind of across all those disciplines, really focused on the end user and our customers. But I'm here to tell you that the shiny object that gets us so excited as technologists, and what lights us up, if your users don't also feel with the warm and fuzzies around it, it doesn't matter. So I think it's a hard truth, and it's a hard, tough pill to swallow as technologists, because we're so proud of the things that when we code and we get it all debugged and we're like, this is amazing. And now enabling and empowering a whole global community of citizen developers with low code. Wow, the opportunities are endless. And how much faster are we going to be able to accelerate technology going to market? It's also terrifying, because that's so much faster that we can be doing things that our users aren't embracing. So I want to give you some tips today to think about who these people, I'd love to see a show of hands. I can't do that obviously in this instance, but if we were all in the room together, I'd say, how many people have been part of a digital transformation project or any kind of technology implementation? And I'm sure many of you have somehow tangentially been involved, either in a sponsorship role or direct implementer role, that are attending this talk today. And you may raise your hand. Then I'd say, how many of those projects failed? And you may kind of half raise your hand because you don't know how to admit it, but like, don't be shy, right? Like, we've all been there. Trust me, I have too. 20 plus years, you see some failures along the way. And honestly, the majority of those failures are not because we didn't have buy-in from the people that were the decision makers writing the checks, right? So executive buy-in, super critical for any sort of technology project. Because why? Because even if you want to embark on a low code platform, someone's going to be able to give you the budget in order to do that. So as a citizen development team, you still have to be able to support it with technology. Who's going to pay for the technology? That's your executive buy-in. But what I want to bring to life for you right now is that equally as important and critical for the success of your insert project name here is end user buy-in. These people, they're really important to your success because of this hard truth that I'm showing you right now. So this may seem familiar to you. These are the people that you may have not got buy-in some of those failures that you've experienced in your past. And it's because our users, they hang on to things for as long as they can, because it helps them do their jobs. And it doesn't matter sometimes, even when it's painful, they'll still do it because they know it. And we are, as creatures of habit, love things that feel familiar, even when they hurt. So that's an interesting fact about human psychology, is that even if there's a better way, it's still different. And sometimes we don't like that. So which, as technologists, we love difference. We're like, oh, this is so cool. I'll just throw out the other thing I did and do this whole thing all over again. But the end users that are using it to do their day-to-day work, they don't feel the same about that. And so these are some of the feedback that we've seen in the past that you will get from people, right? And this does result in failure. So, we may feel like we've successfully implemented a change of any sort, but if they haven't adopted it, then that's not true success. So successful implementation does not equal successful adoption. So there's two sides of the coin there. So we really have to maintain both those perspectives to really get true success in the nature of technology, leveraging low code or any code, really. Like, that part doesn't necessarily matter. So really focusing on these users and remembering that anytime that you're doing something with technology, you are displacing something else. So this could be, by the way, that someone had a manual process where they just had pen to paper, and you implemented this amazing thing on the low code platform that automated what they were doing. They used to do it pen to paper, but that's still a transformation. You're still taking something they've done that's habitual and displacing it. And when you do that, you disrupt their world. And this is the kind of feedback that you might get. Someone recently asked me, Melissa, do you think that the work that we're doing right now will become obsolete in 2025? And I sat and thought, well, what an interesting question, right? What does it even mean for it to become obsolete? Well, that means that people don't care about it anymore, right? It's old news. It doesn't matter. And I thought, no, because of these people right here, because that's only in 4 years. And I know that there's people like these users that are using technology from 10 years ago. So your end users won't let you let go of sometimes your technology. There's many stories. I'm sure some can nod if I was to see them in the audience today, of those projects or those solutions that you've put out to market that you'd love to sunset, those what we call legacy fondly. Unfortunately, sometimes we have a hard time sunsetting those products, which means we end up having to support back many versions, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure you've all experienced this. These are the reason why, because we have people that are successfully have adopted it, but they don't want to let it go. So these people matter. Hopefully I've got that point really drilled into your head now. So what if I told you there was a way to think about this architecturally and in a pattern where you could keep things sort of at the core where they matter, but also develop experiences that can scale around this to be able to meet your users where they are and deliver an experience that feels native and organic to them and not disrupt them so much that they don't adopt what you're trying to deliver. And so I want to tell you, and actually low code is so perfect for this, right? So, and really it's around building out what we call sort of spokes around your hub. And so think of your hub as the centralized portion of where the information, sort of what I say, like the heart of the business. This could be one very large monolithic CRM system. We've seen this a lot. That's why I use that as an example. And those are amazing because they're so flexible. But guess what happens with sometimes ultimate flexibility? It can get a little bit out of control. So who gets impacted by that? Again, the end users, right? And so what we've seen that's worked really well is to think of that, compartmentalize the technology into like, okay, keep everything at its core in the hub, but build these spokes, these external experiences that tie into the hub. So you've got the data right where it needs to be, and you're not moving that. Like, we're not going to create these crazy integrations where data is being shipped through many different protocols. And now we have to deal with all sorts of data regulations. I won't even get there. That is not the purpose of this talk. Where what we want to do is actually create a technology that becomes an extension of the human experience. And that's really what this model is at its core. It's let the technology not be an obstacle. Let it be an extension of who these people are and what they're trying to do. And that's the principle of hub and spoke architecture. So how do we do this? Like you're all bought in. You're like, I get it, Melissa, end user buy-in, way important, like almost as important, if not as critical as executive buy-in if I want to see successful adoption. I see that there's an architectural model and mindset that I can adopt. But now, like, rubber meets the road. What am I supposed to do? How do I do this? How do I even start? So it's probably not surprising that I'm going to tell you the first thing you need to do is know who your users are. That's super important. It's probably step one before you ever put pen to paper, ask for executive buy-in, adopt any sort of low-code platform or otherwise back-end tool to be able to develop anything. Know who your users are. And how we like to do that is through a set of principles that I'm showing you right now. And one is identifying the job to be done, because what's the most important part of what the user's trying to do? They're trying to achieve an outcome. What is that outcome? Because if you don't know that destination, you're sure as heck not going to be able to build a path for them to get there. So first step on this journey is understanding who your users are and what they're trying to do. You know, what is their successful outcome? And don't let your users tell you how how to do it, because they love to do that. Users love to tell you how to build things. And that's great. We love to collaborate. You'll see this with number 2, but they shouldn't solution. I think, I'm a big fan of loving the problem is what I usually say. Like, let's stay inquisitive and curious in the space of the problem longer. We jump to solution too fast. And when we do that, what happens is, and on the onset, it feels really perfect and everyone loves it. But in practice, you lose adoption. You get the attrition of users because you didn't think through the problem enough. So you sort of got like this really pretty facade on the front, but then when you dug behind the layers and you actually started to use it in practice, it starts to fall apart. So love the problem, stay in that space of curiosity with your users and understand what it is they're trying to achieve, like truly achieve. Like, what's the most important things to them? That's the job they're trying to accomplish. And then collaborate with them. So again, like, work with them. I call this inclusive design, especially in the space of where I'm looking at diversity and inclusion. And part of that is because I like to say, build with your users, not for your users. So I'm not over here in a dark corner and I'm like, I'm the technologist, I'm over here, or I'm the citizen developer on my low code platform. I know best. Don't you worry. Something's going to come out the other side of this. Is going to be amazing. You're going to love it. And just sort of, regurgitate what's coming out on the other side with technology. I believe it's more of a collaborative process. You need to really work with them, deliver things incrementally, so we're all a big fan of agile these days, right? Like, get something in front of your users fast, because if it's wrong, they're going to tell you. And if you wait too long, my theory is it's always wrong. Like, when someone says something about a product, I'm like, well, who's using the product? Well, no one yet. We haven't gone to market. I'm like, no, that's wrong. Like, and that's a hard truth too. People are like, what do you mean it's not wrong? I'm like, it's wrong. If no one's using it, it's already wrong, because no one's told you that it's not wrong. So I mean, it's over here in a dark corner. So building with people, not for them, is really important. And part of a principle around like the hub is keeping the data where it lives, because data is important to your business. So I'd love to tell you that we build amazing user experiences because it's just a lot of fun and people love to just type into a screen or, click on buttons all day, but that's just not the truth, right? The reason why people are doing this is to input data and be able to get, analytics and insights from that data. And so maintaining the integrity around that data is always crucial. And so it's something you always have to keep top of mind in these principles when you're working through them. So you know who your users are, you know what their outcomes are, and you're working with them to be inclusive. Make sure you know where they are. Meet them where they are, especially in the state of a pandemic where everybody was working from different places. They may be working on a mobile device. They may be working on their desktop. They may be doing all sorts of things while they're working and being super distracted. Understand all of that, because it matters. It matters with the user experience that you design for them to make sure they're having that optimal experience. And finally, get their feedback. Like, the great thing about this is if you're listening to your users and you make it easy for them to give them your feedback, both during the process and beyond, then you've already got their buy-in. And remember, end user buy-in, super critical, if not as important as executive buy-in. And what does it all mean? So I've just showed you how to do this and the steps that we take here, but what's sort of the lucrative or ROI on doing all of this? And there certainly is. It definitely takes investment. I'm not going to lie, but there is a return on that investment. So reducing training costs. Why? Because your users were part of the design. So they don't necessarily need this back-end training as much as they would have otherwise. You're accelerating user adoption, again, because you got their buy-in during the process. Optimizing team workflows. This is one of my favorite sort of surprises that happens, because your team, the users, the end users won't necessarily tell you what's not working, because they just do it. They just sort of begrudgingly do it and then take over and work around things. But their workarounds aren't optimal, but they don't tell you about those because they don't realize they're painful. So you just sort of discover pain and find ways that you could automate things that aren't otherwise automated, or not automate things that were automated but wrong. And then obviously increasing user retention, right? So I mentioned, if your adoption is great at the beginning, but then you don't keep them, that's still not successful adoption, right? Because you want them to stay with you. So this is a little bit about me. If you want to take a snapshot of this and reach out to me, I'm happy to talk to you about all sorts of things: low code, user experience, diversity, that's a favorite topic of mine, and inclusion. And then of course, I want to leave you with, please remember, successful implementation, even though we think technology is super cool and we get really excited about it, does not equal successful adoption. So you got to remember your end users.
Got it. Phenomenal, Melissa. I know we're right at time. I had one interesting question in the chat that I was hoping you could answer. Stated that my employees resist new technology adoption. Any tips on increasing the adoption rates?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I did give you some tips, but I would say, I think it's definitely bringing them in early and getting their feedback. So I think interesting thing about us as users and just humans in general, if they give feedback but they don't feel like they were listened to, that resistance can come into play almost to spite you, I would say. It's almost like with our children. I have 3 boys, so this feels very familiar, right? Like sometimes you just have to have the listening so that when you respond back and acknowledge that you've heard it and really provide substantial feedback around why maybe you can't do what they're asking, or understand what they're trying to do and provide them a better path. So part of that's training, but part of it's also like getting them involved like in the beginning, like really upfront and listening.
Yes, I love this approach, and I think that it's the only way to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to have that that collaboration. So,
Absolutely.
Melissa, thank you very much again.
Yeah, thank
Wonderful
you.
presentation. Glad to see another New Hampshireite
Yeah.
on the call, and hopefully you'll join us again for another session sometime in the near future.
Absolutely. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
perfect. Thank you. Great. So another successful presentation, and that brings up our next guest, my dear friend Alex Petronenko, product evangelist here at Creatio. Hola, muchacho.
Hi, Eric. How are you today?
Good, good. So it's a great topic, and I think that there's not a better speaker to walk the audience through this. So using AI-powered low-code platforms to boost teams and process efficiency. So I've seen you work wonders in the tool, and I'm looking forward to this presentation, Alex. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Eric. Well, yes, AI is definitely a very exciting and a very interesting topic, specifically when you think about how the world is changing and how organizations are changing together with AI and any kind of machine-generated insights into the work of the users. And today we're going to be talking about a couple of topics that are related to AI, right? And how exactly AI is actually going to be, changing the world, how you can actually improve the AI adoption with a low-code application platform that Creatio is, and as well have a look at the capability of Creatio's AI machine learning models right now, right? So definitely stick around, guys. Drop your questions into the chat area. Let us know what you think. Share your thoughts as usual, right? And we're going to get started. I know that we are, as always, a little bit behind on time, so I'm not going to waste any more time. So first of all, even a simple definition of an AI can be all summarized into process knowledge. The idea here is that the system can mimic, can, kind of introduce human-like thinking into the work of the end users. And first of all, cover two main areas: perform certain human-like actions to boost their adoption, to minimize that manual data input, right, or manual data update, and as well provide an overview over the accumulated data that is out there in order to provide guidance and provide certain level of insight into what that data is, right? And of course, low code, we've talked about low code hundreds and hundreds of times over these past couple of days, right? But of course, the low code is standing for in one button deployment, right? To use zero or minimum programming or professional IT knowledge, as something that you learn to be in order to actually deliver business applications. And first of all, we're definitely going to start with the artificial intelligence, right? And there are really four key pillars if you think about the AI-enabled future, as we call it, right? So what will the adoption of AI be supported by? First of all, it's definitely the organizations and the companies that are adopting and are utilizing best practice of AI in order to boost their operations, in order to make their users more efficient, right? Of course, moving from there, there's the automation level. Think about the world where you don't have to perform, data search yourself. You don't have to perform the, you don't have to really remember too much about the deals that you're previously working on, but you can rely on the machine to provide you guidance within those processes, right? And within those manual data updates. And of course, it's all about improving the experience of the end user's experience, the human experience, right? Where we as well can provide a better level of, independency of the users and actually support the user and the person with AI machine learning models. And then, of course, having the knowledge about what is the probability, the likelihood of working within your process, right, making your sufficient, right, giving you guidance all over the place is as well quite helpful. And basically, there's been a lot of research, right? There's been a lot of different discoveries that were led by leading industry analysts, and Gartner being one of them, that really are predicting that by the end of 2024, at least 75% of all of the organizations will move from trying out AI technologies to actually making this part of the day-to-day operations, right? And we definitely like to see our customers implementing AI into their work, right? And using different perspectives over the data and over the AI technologies in different use cases. So from here, what else is going to be happening in the AI world, right? Well, first of all, AI will be helping to refine business processes. AI will help to identify bottlenecks and improve the design experience of those processes, to make not only the end user operations more efficient and more productive, but as well the design experience of the application. Now, definitely, the personalization that is happening across the customer and the user journey, mostly customer journey, is as well going to be improving, and all of the different content that will come across is going to be hyper personalized across every step, from interest to complete the purchase. Now, of course, the way that the users are adopting AI is definitely going to be changing, because when they're going to see the value and the improvements in the revenue and their operations, they're going to be more eager and more open to adopt AI. And just simply making data more accurate is going to be as well changing the way that the organizations think about AI and how they're implemented. And let's hear, Eric, probably stop for a quick second, right? And let's hear from our audience about what is really the primary goal of organizations that are implementing AI technologies in their work. Is it cost reduction, efficiency boost, offering personalization, right? Or the personal customer journey personalization, or just the development of new offerings? Mm-hmm. And as always, I'm going to rely on you on the results of the poll. Here. Yeah, let's probably just give it another second. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll wait for some of these results to come in, and let's check this out. All right. All right. So we have efficiency boost leading the way here, Alex. We have cost reduction coming in a close second, and offerings personalization and new offerings development tied. So definitely efficiency boost by a long shot.
Yeah, well, this is really, again, kind of a backing up what has been predicted, right? What has been part of the many different researches and studies around AI, right? And how different organizations are looking at AI. And there's really a few more things that we wanted to mention here, right? Similar to what we've discussed right now, right? If you're thinking about, again, different reasons for implementation of AI, more than 40 respondents to this study performed by Gartner actually say that their priority number one is the customer experience improvement, right? And in many ways, you could say that this is part of the efficiency. Now, moving from there, of course, we can talk about the additional studies that were performed by McKinsey, right, around AI-enhanced organizations, and of course, that about those increases in the revenue that are actually delivered by the adoption of AI, and how those are being used in marketings and sales. But from here, let's really move to the low-code side of things, right? And let's talk about what is the low-code application platform, how it can actually support the adoption of AI. Now, in this case, we're again going to be coming back to some of these numbers, right, about what is the current coverage of the low-code development in the market, which is only 23%, right? And we're at the same time, at least 70% of organizations believe that local platforms will be more affordable than traditional software development by the time and already, right? So this is again standing for the fact that many organizations already are thinking about more, I would say, easier ways of utilizing and building AI technologies in their operations to their work, where they can actually as well just perform, deliver those improvements to their users, to their customers. So another thing here is that, Eric, as you know, right, low-code is actually one of the best technologies that is out there to cover different aspects of operations of the organization, right? This is covering both low-code for front office operations. This is definitely covering low-code for the middle and back office operations, right? And again, having a platform like Creatio is definitely one of the ways that we see a huge value that it brings to our customers and to our partners. Wouldn't you agree?
I would definitely agree. And we see that more and more, start with a single use case and then recognize the power of low code, and it just expands across an organization.
Yeah.
So 1000% would agree.
Yeah, of course. But still, even though we do see this huge value that low-code brings to different organizations, right? One of the key findings that was performed by our study of the current state of low-code still says that out of 3 citizen developers that are I would say the target audience, right, of a low-code application platform when it gets to the delivery and the implementation of the products, 2 are IT related users, right? So 2/3 are still going to be not professional, but I would say, on the edge of the professional IT knowledge, right? System administrators, business analysts, software integrators, and only one of them would be a business user, right? And of course, this is going to change. There's going to be this is something that's going to be changing over the years in the nearest time. We're quite eager to see what would be the numbers next year. But the idea here is that, again, implementation of AI should be carried out by business users, right, rather than IT related, because again, they should be empowered by using local technologies and delivering those automation levels, right? And of course, Creatio as a low-code solution definitely has multiple goals in mind, right? First of all, to deliver innovation, to allow organizations be connected with their customers, partners, and employees in a completely new way of improve their experience all the way around their journey. And of course, for the middle and back offices, right, together connected to the front office to as well improve their operational experience, right, and to deliver the best system in user automation that is possible and that is out there. And the idea here is that, again, and Eric, we've got a quick demonstration of our capabilities, right? So let me just quickly switch to my live system. And we're going to start with the demonstration.
System in action.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, of course, Creatio is
one of the
really
things
AI
that we definitely need to mention here, right, is that AI is available in Creatio in all of the different aspects.
Forms and different
and as part of the AI is to mimic some of the user experience, right, and some of the user actions. This is also starting through the very first, a very simple part of this journey, where part of the data search that users usually carry out, Creatio can actually deliver automation level to this step by automatically searching for some of this data on the customer's website, right, without users even participating into this task at all. And of course, this is one of the examples how Creatio can actually empower users with carrying out some of these manual tasks by the system, right? Where an additional layer, as you know, right, part of the CRM world is, of course, delivery of machine-generated insights into the NBO or the next best offer that can be then really provided and added to the sales, to the opportunity across any step in the life cycle of the deal, right? But where we believe is the biggest advantage of Creatio as a platform is actually the way that these data predictions, right, and this machine-generated assistance is performed and is carried out, where we can actually go back and go to our studio platform, right, the underlying technology of Creatio, and switch to our machine learning model sections, where we actually create and we monitor the performance of these models, right? So this is the area where we could actually see that the way that machine learning models are created in the Creatio is through simple point-and-click style of configuration, right? That allows us to carry out multiple different use cases of delivering those predictions across predictive scoring, classification, regression, recommendations, and search of similar text. And this is really where our customers are able of creating different ways of the way that the system is actually going to be delivering these predictions towards the same record, towards the same record across multiple different data types or data attributes, right? And then, of course, as they're going to be using these models, they can then adjust the list of the criterion parameters that are going to be taken into account with the prediction, right? And of course, change the way that they are actually going to be performing the prediction in the system. So this is really one of those ways that we are delivering this low-code approach in delivering machine learning models to the end users, right? And one of the ways, again, right, take into account certain data attributes, take those out. But another layer of automation and flexibility that we are delivering in Creatio when it gets to machine learning models, besides different types of predictions I mentioned, right, is the flexibility of actually executing those predictions, right, where the user should not be tied to only one specific use case around the, let's say, steps in the journey where the data is going to be predicted for them, but the way that the system is actually going to be delivering the prediction around any step of that journey, right? So before moving forward, right, one more time, different types of data prediction, depending on the type, recommendations, predictive scoring, text similarity, numeric predictions, and lookup predictions, right, allow us to cover most, if not all, of currently different use cases that should be supported by a low-code application platform. And of course, the strategy here is to extend the number of the data prediction types, right, and as well to allow third-party machine learning models to be easily incorporated into the work of the users. So let's probably, because we are a little bit out of time, right, let's probably switch back to the presentation. Let's pause here. And let's really take a look at some of those questions in the chat area. If we've got any area.
Yeah, I think we've got a few, but I think we've got time for one. So I'm going to choose an interesting one here. So the question is, how do you suggest we combine low-code and traditional development?
Sure. Well, the idea here is that low-code development is, well, at least at the current state, right, is not going to be fully replacing the traditional development. The idea of low-code development is to accelerate the design of the applications, right, and as well to minimize the involvement of the professional IT resources and professional development, and minimize the time spent on the professional development by empowering business users in using those drag and drop, point and click style of configurations that will be actually basically generating the code in the background for the organization, for the platform, right? So by accelerating the design time of the applications, you're definitely reducing the cost that it takes to deliver it, the time to deliver it, right? And allows the professional resources to be focused on the most complex integrations and most complex business logic that needs to be delivered, right? So again, in making the whole process more simple, more agile, right, and more beneficial to both the staff involved and to the organization.
Agreed. Yeah, let them focus on the heavy lifting and offset that with some citizen development.
Correct.
Got all kinds of comments in here, Alex. Great demo. Everybody loves what they see. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure as always, sir.
My pleasure, Eric. Thank you very
All
much
right.
as well, and have a great day.
Thanks. You too.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right. That brings us to our next session. So this is a real life low code experience, and I'd like to welcome Nels Yenhart. Did I get that right, Nels? I've been murdering names all day today.
No worries, Eric.
All right. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. I'm doing well. And Nels joins us from our dear customer Ivy Ventures, and got a very interesting story to tell on how low-code technology really enabled Ivy Ventures to do more with less, right? And I think that is a key benefit of low-code platforms. So Nels, if you could do a great favor and let the audience know a little bit about your company and how you guys succeed.
Yeah, sure. So we were recently acquired, actually, and I keep reverting to the old name as well. So our old name was Ivy Ventures, and now we are Centauri Health Solutions, and the services we provide are part of a new division called Referral Management and Analytics. Excuse me. Just by way of context. So it's kind of a niche business. I'll try to keep this brief, but essentially, we assist hospital systems to grow outpatient imaging volume by improving referring providers' experience with the hospital. So the goal is to help hospitals adopt a more customer-focused mindset and to think about how they can grow the pipeline of incoming business in addition to their strong existing emphasis on operational efficiency and revenue cycle. So most hospitals are pretty intensely focused on operational efficiency, and they tend to pay a lot less attention to generating incremental referrals from physicians that send to the hospital. And in addition to that, most hospital systems have employed doctors that work for the hospital. So you might think that the main opportunity for a hospital system is to grow referrals from the independent referrers who don't work for the hospital. And that is true, but we have actually found that our programs have a significant impact on employed groups as well. So we're focused primarily on outpatient imaging procedures, but we're expanding into other types of procedures too. And so what that looks like on the ground in terms of the services we provide, I think it probably makes sense to describe it in three main buckets. One is assessments, which is a short-term engagement where we'll evaluate the client's standing in the market relative to competitors in some key customer service metrics. So things like hours of operations, scheduling processes, hold times, and the customer perception of cost. So this involves a lot of surveying and market analysis. And this is really kind of a front door or the first step to longer-term engagements. And then there's two main long-term engagements or services that we offer. One is outreach efforts. So this is a staffed outreach service that represents the hospital to the independent referring community. And so we'll do analysis to determine the right number of outreach reps for a market and where they should focus their attention. And then those reps go out and they'll engage the independent referrers, help them solve problems, and promote hospital initiatives in the market. And then the other longer term engagement that we provide is a concierge scheduling service. So we actually offer both a staffed and unstaffed version of this, but the model is to set up a scheduling channel that has a single point of contact who's responsible for all of the steps of the scheduling process, including the pre-auth. So typically we find that this is a fragmented process. And so making one person accountable for the entire scheduling effort helps to ensure that nothing falls through the cracks. And it also takes the pre-auth work off of referring offices staff, and it makes it a lot easier for them to schedule with our clients. And so that in turn boosts volume, where those referrers are going to send more volume to the hospital because it's easier to do so. And then the one other kind of aspect of the program that the providers really love is receiving status updates on each of the tests they've ordered. So there's this feedback loop that lets them know what the status of their patients is. And then underpinning all of that is analytics, which is key to understanding market and referral trends and reporting on program success.
Amazing. That's that's a comprehensive list of services that you're providing, and I can imagine the technology complexity that is kind of behind that. What sort of challenges did you see that prompted you to start to look for solutions that might be able to kind of bring all of that together?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say probably when we started evaluating this a few years ago, the main driver for change came from the concierge scheduling process, which was that last piece I touched on. That concierge scheduling process requires a single coordinator to track and manage all of the steps of what we call the order cycle. So receiving the order, performing insurance verification, handling pre-auth, contacting the patient, scheduling the appointment, following up with the referring provider. And so the business idea was we need to put a lot of rigor around this process to make sure that patients don't fall through the cracks, and to allow us to be able to track the status of every order all the time, just like UPS or FedEx track packages. So we started with just a couple coordinators at one facility several years ago, and the business was using just a shared Excel spreadsheet. But the program was successful and it started growing, and so we had more facilities and more coordinators. And so it quickly outgrew Excel. And then the managers implemented a SharePoint list to manage orders. And they ended up having different lists for different geographies. And that created a big problem because with that architecture, we're replicating SharePoint sites each time we expanded, and that multiplied the effort associated with making changes. And SharePoint also limited our ability to automate processes and to extract data. This wasn't really a great platform for what we were trying to do. And as the size of the lists grew, we started to experience more and more glitches and performance issues. So we were in the SharePoint days when I joined the company a few years ago, and we started to notice the problems. And so I got tasked with looking into a better solution. And one of the most helpful things was actually sitting with the coordinators and watching them work. And we could see that there was this workflow they were following where they literally drag and drop these PDF orders that they get from doctors' offices through this chain of folders they had set up on a file directory so they could know which step they were in. So it became very clear from that experience that we needed a workflow management tool, kind of similar to an IT ticketing process. And so that's what kind of started the search for a case management solution. And we stumbled across Creatio while doing online research. And then the other kind of main need that we had at that time was a CRM, because our outreach liaisons were supposed to manage physician data and practice assignments, but we didn't really have a universal tool to capture that. And so each rep was keeping independent lists of information. And then that created a lot of problems because the coordinator teams needed that information whenever we launched a new practice. So there's this handoff where the liaison would have to email the coordinator managers with changes, but then those didn't always make it into SharePoint. And our strategy and analytics team, which handles reporting, also needed to know about changes so that the reports would be accurate. But then often that didn't happen. And so there's this painful back and forth where they generate the report and then someone would notice, half an hour before a client meeting that we had the wrong info on it. And so then there would be this scramble to try and update the information.
Right. Interesting. So in search of a workflow tool as well as CRM, how did low code come into play there, and what benefits did you see low code having on your organization?
Yeah. So we embarked on a build versus buy evaluation initially, and we didn't have an IT team. So we discussed kind of creating an application from scratch with some custom development shops, but building a custom solution is very expensive. And we still wanted the ability to make changes to the application without having to engage outside developers, every time we wanted to make enhancements. And then buy got a little bit tricky because there wasn't an off-the-shelf software to do exactly what we wanted to do with the scheduling process. So we still needed some flexibility to make customizations. And we discovered that low code was a great way to bridge that gap to allow us to get the speed of purchasing off the shelf and also the flexibility of being able to customize it without a large IT team. So some of the benefits, I guess, of low code that we saw for our processes was having a unified platform for both the CRM and scheduling. So being able to have that universal source of truth for office preferences and to incorporate that kind of physician information into the scheduling process and the reporting processes. And then that, having everything on the same platform eliminated the need for integration work and meant that those changes were immediately available to the schedulers. And the built-in process engine meant that we could customize workflows ourselves without hiring or using a lot of very highly technical development resources. We wanted something we could maintain ourselves, but hiring a large IT staff wasn't really in the budget. And then the ease of use allowed us to get pretty far with only a few amount of resources. So things like the out-of-box templates. We used a Creatio partner firm called Meritus Business Solutions to help out with implementation and doing some custom development and training so that we could become self-sufficient in the tool. And then since then, we've really been able to have a team of one to handle our data environment and reporting and manage the platform and to continue to enhance it.
Excellent. And we know that like anytime you're introducing a new technology in any organization, there's always challenges with that, right? Anytime anything's new, there might be resistance to change. What piece of advice would you give to an organization that may be kind of at the beginning of their transformational cycles?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a few lessons learned that we had that I'll share here. And the first one, it just really goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway, and that is that it's critical to get the business engaged. And one of the interesting things that we discovered going through this is that we had upper level management on board with the transformation, but we kind of struggled to get the mid-level business managers engaged in the project. So they didn't really contribute in a meaningful way to testing and to providing feedback. And you would think, well, this is something the business needs or something they're requesting, and so they have a vested interest in the project. But in this case, they didn't really initiate the transformation, and they were super busy and focused on their daily tasks. And so they didn't really kind of get involved as much as would have been helpful. And they had plenty of angst about changing platforms, but not enough to really get in and vet it and contribute to creating a better product. It was more of a kind of fatalistic mentality. The world's going to end, but there's nothing we can do about it. So kind of getting the business engaged is key. And then requirements gathering goes along with that. And that's really important. And the lack of business engagement hampers that as well. And then the other piece of feedback I would give is about training. Training is really, really important prior to go live. And that's definitely something we could have used more of. You can have a great system, but if people aren't familiar with it and haven't really learned how to use it, it's still going to be problematic. So we again ran into some issues where the business was just very busy, and we didn't adequately prioritize training prior to go live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are great tips, and we had a presenter a couple of sessions back here where we were talking about that, right? Just about that user adoption and making sure that you're aligned, in strategy across the organization and training, right? That was a big part of it. So that's actually great advice because we see that time and time again, and it seems to be a common theme amongst our presenters. So. Perfect. So when you look at after we've introduced this technology, what do you see as let me backtrack. How do we see this tying into your overall business goals? Like I'm sure you have set out a roadmap of where your organization wants to be, and how do you see low code helping you get there?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the opportunities, I guess, that's kind of come up out of this that we didn't foresee previously is that, so for our services, we have clients who are interested in the concierge scheduling model we've talked about a little bit. And what we call Patient Tracker Plus is the application we built on Creatio to manage that scheduling process. And so we've traditionally offered staffed and unstaffed versions. And the unstaffed version means that we'll help someone else set up their own concierge scheduling program. instead of us staffing it. And so we have some clients that prefer to staff it themselves. But what we can do now with this low-code platform is we're actually gearing up to try and offer Patient Tracker Plus as a software as a service solution for clients who want to staff a concierge scheduling engagement themselves. So this would enable them to use our defined workflow and our standard reporting offerings while using their own staff. And that's really kind of a new and exciting opportunity, I would say. So it's kind of new territory, so we'll see how it goes.
Perfect. Well, you'll have to keep us informed. Since you are users of low code, and this is a low code marathon, what do you think are the top 3 advantages of low code that businesses can benefit from?
Sure. So I would say, in no particular order, I guess, but speed has got to be, one of the top 3. Out-of-box templates, the GUI interface design, the business process engine. It just allows you to create functional applications very, very fast. I think efficiency is another one. We've seen how you can do a lot with just a few IT resources. And so that's really helpful. Fewer developers. If you have the vendor hosting the solution, then you don't have to worry about the infrastructure for it either. And then I think, just as I think about things, I think there's an opportunity for IT environment simplification or consolidation. So with low code, it's possible to have many different applications on a single platform. And perhaps that creates some risk from having a single point of failure, but I think it creates a lot of benefits in simplifying an IT environment. So if you've got, a lot of your apps on just one environment, which is conceivable, now you just have one set of servers to maintain, one environment to develop in. And again, if it's hosted by the vendor, then you're eliminating some of your infrastructure needs as well. So I think there's an opportunity probably to take a complicated environment and to really simplify it and resolve a lot of the kind of day-to-day maintenance and integration issues.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that plays a big factor in it, right? Flattening out the technology stack. There's a strategy where you can buy a bunch of point solutions to address your needs, but then all of that is a lot of technology to kind of manage. And I really believe that low code kind of eliminates that, right? We're putting everything onto a single technology that can be used across multiple applications within an organization, and making it very efficient to manage that technology versus 10 different point solutions. So yeah, amazing point, Nels. Well, I think that we're almost at time, but I bet you we have time for one question. Let's see here. Let me just take one in the chat. So this question comes from Lisa. Can you please tell us how the low-code platform contributed to your company's alignment?
Yeah, sure. So I think a great example of this is this. We had these 3 teams that interacted together, the liaisons, the coordinator teams, and the strategy and analytics team, which is doing the reporting. And so everyone is interacting with physician data, but we didn't have a central source of truth for it. So we had these, the data is live, it's changing all the time, but those changes weren't getting communicated effectively to the coordinator teams or to the strategy and analytics team, which is creating all these problems with our reporting processes and with the scheduling processes. So having this unified platform where the liaisons could manage and update and maintain that information and have it immediately available for the scheduling teams completely eliminated that handoff. And then in addition to that, we're using Snowflake for our cloud data warehouse. And so we were able to use an OData protocol to feed data from Creatio to Snowflake. And that eliminated the handoff between the reps and the strategy and analytics team on the reporting side as well. So I think that was a kind of a great solution for getting all of those teams aligned around physician data.
Amazing. Yeah, perfect example. And what a way to end the session. Nels, really appreciate you joining the Low Code Marathon. As always, you bring a tremendous insight, and we really appreciate all the beneficial information that you've given to the audience.
Thanks, Eric.
All right. Thanks, Nels.
Take care.
Bye. Okay, moving right along. We're pleased to bring on our next presenter, good friend of mine. Bonjour, Seb.
Bonjour.
All right.
How are you, Eric?
Sebastian is the president and owner of Solution Metrics, valued partner of Creatio, really working with a lot of different types of industry. But again, trying to stick with that same theme of real life low code experience. Sebastian is here to talk about a common customer that we have, Saskatchewan Blue Cross, and how they've been able to increase employee performance by 25% with low code technologies. So I won't delay any further. Seb, if you want to take control of the screen here, I'll let you drive your own presentation. I'll be on the lookout for comments in the chat.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you. Thank you. So yes, a little about myself. So I'm founded about a little more than 10 years on a company called Solutions Metrics. We're a proud partner of Creatio. We've been in the CRM market for a long time. Someone is controlling the. Is it me? No, sorry. The slide. So you are controlling the presentation. So sorry about that. Yes. Okay, that's good. I'm on the right side. No, perfect. Sorry about that.
That's
so,
all right.
Yes. So and one customer that we work together and still working. So they actually went live. Everything been implemented recently is Saskatchewan Blue Cross, and I'm going to talk about how the low code helps them, but also us as an integrator in order to do a lot of work. And we're also partnering with other platforms. So I personally certified on other CRM platform that other very well-known platform that I won't name here, but how fast we could go in terms of implementation. So the Blue Cross part, the one important is the use case was they had the legacy system that they actually had to replace. So lots of process, lots of different very specific use case and rules that they had that we needed to implement quickly. So just an example, when the phone was ringing and they were answering one customer, they could go, an agent on the customer service center could go to 5 to 10 different screens. So you can see the different type of I'll present to myself, of environment that we needed to work with. So just before I go, why Solution Metrics? So we're all about a strategy before we actually. So we with time, Solution Metrics is more a business consulting firm that works in the CRM field than an IT customization firm that understand business. We're the opposite. That's why I think we can go really efficient into project. We get it. Our people are business savvy, so our business acumen of our people is great. We hire based on that. We also, with time, became great on the user adoption side and change management. Those types of project, with Blue Cross is almost 200 users. The technology is great, and we love Creatio as a platform for CRM, but we also work on the human side of making sure the company will be successful in their implementation, not only on the IT side, but on the deployment, user adoption, and change management. So that's Solutions Metrics. So just before we go into the details of what we provided for Blue Cross, let's have a quick outlook of what the insurance industry market is right now and how it evolved and adapt. So first, there as we all know, unfortunately, sometime in the insurance industry, it could be perceived as a commodity where I'm gonna go on the market, ask for prices left and right, have 2-3 supplier, and then or 3 different insurer, and then I'm gonna take the cheapest. So the insurance is facing that problem a lot, and the as well as we all know, and it's going to be probably on every presentation on the local marathon, people are more savvy when they actually engage with company in order to buy. So a lot of the, and insurance goes into the considered buy, and it's it's not a, even if it's perceived as a commodity, it's not a commodity acquiring process. So people would, it falls into a considered purchase. So people will research online, go and do their homework before they actually engage with, on the sell side, with the insurer. So, and because of technology, because the consumer are more savvy, their needs are getting a little more complex. So, and the reason, the answer of the insurance is go through digitalization. So we know that 80% of the organization are investing right now in digitalization. So through an app, they want to be easy to do business with. They want to be more personalized. They want to have product that are really specific for various niches into their customer, and try to distinguish themselves from competition, to not be perceived as a commodity. So you have an offer that's so relevant to you that you find it almost something that's very tailored for you. So you're not going into a commodity purchase cycle of asking prices at 5 different places. So that's the industry right now, for sure. What's the base for this digitalization is the data and AI. So most of our customer in the insurance market and banking industry, they have lots of data, So data is not missing, right? What's missing is transforming the data to information, and even go a little further and bring into AI, so machine learning and everything that we know around AI. So no surprise here. The IT spending will be going toward those kind of initiatives. So analytic and business intelligence, AI, predictive analytic as well, and things like, for example, how likely this customer is to renew his policy. So that's an example. So, but lots of investment into AI. So another important thing that Creatio does very well, just to mention. So, and in banking and insurance industry, we see lots of legacy systems. So we're not out of completely yet those, especially if you have an older type of mainframe system, and we get those use cases a lot, and that Creatio is the perfect fit for those kind of transformation from a mainframe to a cloud play. And Creatio can be on premise as well, so all the regulation regarding data privacy, security, and stuff can be addressed very easily with Creatio. So all to say that there's still some legacy system. Creatio is a perfect fit, and that's what the use case of Blue Cross was a mainframe transformation into a cloud platform. And they're not alone. So we see that even when the introspection of the insurance and the insurer, they find themselves too slow to react. So the low code part of being able to grow and expand and without, and that's, I came a few minutes earlier, that's what Neil said just before, and that's what Blue Cross is also experiencing. So low code, even if there's a word code, is the ability for non-IT people to do amelioration of their software and modification. So that's great. And the InsurTech, so it's we talked, there's a lot of investment that are made into InsurTech. Part of digitalizing the journey go through an InsurTech as well, and the industry is good. So the chartered insurer, the bigger guys and the bigger firm, they see a lot of not threat but opportunity with InsurTech. So that's one of the reasons why they get lots of investment. And we'll talk here about 10 billion by 2025, and could be even more. But the investment of those digital initiatives that will respond to very specific needs is on the rise as well. So it's part of the AI, the big data, the transformation from mainframe, and the intertech. So let's go into the use case of Saskatchewan Blue Cross. So first, a little information around Blue Cross. So first, it's been founded in '46, so they've been around the block. So and we know there's a lot of Blue Crosses that we work with in North America. Blue Crosses around the world. So they are known for travel insurance. They do commercial side. They do as well on the more the consumer side. So it's a B2B and a B2C use case. And they work to brokers as well. So that's something that Creatio does very, very well also. So what was their kind of pain point or challenges that they wanted to alleviate with the implementation of Creatio? So first, they didn't have real-time access to information. So they had nightly batch process, which is typical when you have a mainframe. So they had information that was 24. Sometimes it needed to be compiled a little more. So they could get some information like reporting, for example, sometimes could be monthly. So they couldn't react. Plus, they wanted to adjust to the customer need as well very, very rapidly. So I would say that definitely what motivated Saskatchewan Blue Cross to do the investment in Creatio is to be more customer centric. So in order to be more customer centric, there's few pillars, like for example, having a 360-degree profile of your customer, which is something we come across a lot in two different projects. But and when you have a mainframe with siloed information, that's very difficult. But definitely, what motivated the investment is be better with their customer, more customer centric. So because they didn't have the technology, so there was no standard workflow. So you can have things like underwriting and claim process that could be challenging internally in terms of efficiency. Multiple screen to manage, multiple data source, lack of sales forecasting tools as well. So they had the information like delayed and sometime a month later, and lack of integration as well. So everyone those days expect a portal, an app, I could chat, Facebook Messenger, real-time chat. So they had those pieces, but apart, not integrated. So now just a little quickly on the sales cycle. So the key selection criteria. So they were looking. So they've seen other company for sure with big logo, billion-dollar company that we all know, and what they really liked about Solution Metrics and Creatio is we saw this as a business digital transformation project, which we had experience in. So we could support them and even lead that project and that digital transformation with them. The other on the solution metric side, but they really and we demonstrated how quote unquote easy it will be with Creatio. So we didn't have to hard code stuff. We did, and actually we compile the information. And there's encoding because there's integration. There's less than 4% coding in the thousands of hours that's been done to this project. So most of it come from their side, from our side as well, into configuration, low code, workflow, automation, but not coding, not actually having someone that goes in line 1, line 2, line 3 in code and in some in traditional coding. So that's so this means we were more easy and more nimble in order to implement the software as well. So we had 3 different releases that are done now, and they could recover ROI very rapidly. So after 6 months, we had a first release because it's not, it took 6 months to configure Creatio. There was a lot of back-end mainframe work to be done. But after 6 months, they could already start getting the ROI, and then we continued release by release. So meaning that we get some users live with the platform, and then as we grow with them, and they are now autonomous. So yes, we're supporting Blue Cross with pleasure, but things their BA, not their IT department, but their business analysts can configure the software. So that's the beauty of the local. So they don't, for and we've been with them now more than 2 years. So they are autonomous right now. So their BA can change screen, create workflow, and we have very complex workflow. Things like underwriting, claims. So those are not easy. For those guys on the line who understand how insure work, processing a claim or going through an underwriting process is not that simple. And even with those more complex use cases, like I said, it's about 4% of coding, traditional coding we did. The vast majority, the 96%, is just configuration adjustments that and custom that you're creating with the tools of Creatio. If we go about the solution, so I think I spoke already about it, but in wanting that competitive advantage and being more customer centric, the local platform allow them to do the crawl, walk, run approach in a short period of time. What normally took or takes 18, 24 months in an implementation that size took them 6-8 months after release. So with the release, so we could go about 2.5 times faster than a traditional coding integration deployment project. So and they have now more and more solution that they can offer. So in the promise we made of being more customer centric can now be realized with and actualized with Creatio. So Creatio provided, I think I mentioned it, but a unified process. So there's a process automation. So we really want merging or having both the business process management with the CRM, lots of automation. We're also they started using AI for sales forecast, customer insights, when there's a product that could be offered, renewal, stuff like this. So they have also we built the holistic view of the customer with that AI as well, and we have a fully integrated system, which it was a big thing for them. Now, a couple of findings. So this is a little more detail around the Blue Cross, but they now have a really solid BPM engine. The marketplace also that we're author of a couple package on the marketplace. It's very powerful, and we could leverage that as well. The technical team was also really helpful, especially when we talked about the mainframe, and everything around dashboard reporting was also something very, very helpful for them. So we did more than expected, and that's great. That's definitely something that they enjoyed. So what would you do differently? Then I think there's some out of the box at Blue Cross that could be leveraged at first, and maybe and that's something of being an integrator. Sometime we actually wanted to personalize, but there's thing out of the box, no personalization could be done, and also on the marketplace we could leverage a few things here and there. So the key to success. So as well, so we were aligned. So before we actually started the project, we did what we call here an inception. So we're business consultants, right? So we wanted really clearly align on the overarching goal of this transformative project, which we did, and they were really involved from we did alignment of both the top down and the bottom up needs. we were on time in terms of delivery. We also had access to the key stakeholder to take decision if needed, because those transformative projects arise lots of opportunity and decision needs to be made. I think our expertise in the insurance industry and our ability to lead to an agile, so they were not that familiar with the agile process and the implementation, so they were super happy, and the ability of, as well, of having them into standard project management in terms of deciding together what will be on the next sprint and what will be at the sprint release, the sprint review. So we had them really in our project methodology, so which helped a lot as well. So low code for platform for insurance. So first, I'm not going to go into lots of detail here, but workflow business logic, the user interface, the integration, the AI algorithm, which are the pillar of all the different important tasks in insurance, and as well in the task management and the cross-functional requirements that we have for every department. So we covered really, really large in terms of scope for Blue Cross. So, and the people we got involved with was marketing, sales, human capital, administration, the internal service support, the external support, the IT, the R&D, procurement, finance, legal. So everyone was involved in the CRM project. So they had, in various way, their participation in the project. So, and the low code, with the low code could automate those cross-department workflow to make it work more in a collaborative environment than a siloed environment, which was really, really important for them. So underwriting is an example. It's part of the sales process. Before you say yes to the customer, you need to do an underwriting. But the underwriting, the retroaction with the sales is very, very important. So you cannot have that, you can have that in two systems, but you're losing in efficiency. So I think my time is up, Eric. If I'm not mistaken, I could go for hours because I'm super passionate about the Blue Cross. But,
it's a great story, Sebastian, and it's a repeatable process, right, for the insurance industry. This is common, right? These are common challenges that they have. So tremendous presentation. If any insurance providers or anybody in the insurance industry is out there, you should definitely think about what Sebastian said today, and try to replicate the success that Saskatchewan Blue Cross has had with the platform. So Seb, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. Until the next time, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. And moving right along, guys, we will head into our next session. No time for Q&A. Thank you from Seb. And here we go. We will begin our next session, low code, no code in the spotlight. We have Yuri Yushkov, CEO of Velvetech, joining us today to talk about how low code and AI can help increase the customer experiences by aligning people and processes. So Yuri's got a ton of experience within the industry, and has a lot of insight into how to leverage these tools to increase customer experience. So Yuri, I'll turn it over to you.
Welcome and thank you everyone for joining Velvetech's session. Today we will be discussing how to improve customer experience by using artificial intelligence and low-code within an omnichannel contact center at your company or your clients. Our experts in contact center solutions are standing by in a live Zoom meeting, and they look forward to your questions. So please go ahead and start asking your questions right away. This is Yuri Yushkov. I'm the CEO at Velvetech, and I have led this company since 2004. My professional career began over 25 years ago with banking software development and now progressed to creating software solutions and technology platforms for companies in many industries globally. I have my colleague with me today, Artemy Firsov, our team lead and project manager for contact center and AI solutions. He's in charge of the development and implementation of all speech recognition and call analytics projects at Velvetech. So why Velvetech is a leader in the area of contact centers? Since 2004, Velvetech has been on the cutting edge of IT solutions development. We worked with the top phone system platforms on the market globally, including RingCentral and 2600Hz. Besides, we worked with the top CRM software vendors. That includes Creatio, our leading CRM partner today. We are going to take a deep dive into how expertise in artificial intelligence and machine learning empowers operations of sales, marketing, and service. It's important to note that Velvetech delivers its services globally. We do so through our headquarters in Chicago and our centers of excellence in Central America and Eastern Europe. We have over 90 full-time experts who implement and support our software solutions and facilitate innovation and growth for our customers. I'm really excited to be talking about customer engagement and customer experience today. We see that customer experience is constantly evolving. Nowadays, consumers don't buy products, they buy experiences. So it can really be your main differentiator in the market. Customers will typically buy from the companies providing great experiences and bringing them value at every stage of their journey. That's why I'd like to focus on this area. As we continue to innovate with our clients and research further the critical role of artificial intelligence and machine learning, we have actually found out that augmenting the human capabilities in a contact center has 4 key pillars. These are the areas where companies can address challenges at their contact centers and where our technology provides new capabilities. First of all, it's connecting with customers through different digital channels. It happens during the client's buyer journey or when customers request for help. The idea is to let all of the agents grow to the level of top performance across the entire contact center. It refers to various cohorts of teams in terms of how long they have been employed at their contact center and what level of onboarding they have gone through. This is done by giving them the best tools that are scalable to different types of use cases. These tools manage the process across the day-to-day duties in the work of the contact center agent. At the same time, those tools have to be capable of bringing the highest level of process automation and managing the flow of interactions intelligently. This is where artificial intelligence and machine learning are based on the context of every single conversation. It makes conversations and interactions tailored to the individual needs of the customer or prospect in real time. And finally, when resource management is applied through artificial intelligence, the managers at the contact center are able to provide the best on-demand knowledge for their staff. And at this point, I think it's great to talk about particular tools that help address the 4 mentioned areas. So how the synergy of artificial intelligence and low code can help companies deliver exceptional customer experience? As we go through discovery meetings with our customers, we see that they may come with a somewhat different immediate needs. Some of them are being driven by their need for better agent coaching. Others would like to look deeper into the conversations to navigate through the workflow better and drive better outcomes. Or they just want to connect in real time with their customers and apply their knowledge in a better, more meaningful way. Through all of these customer needs, we see what unifies them. So obviously our business clients' intent is to reduce the cost. Their driving motive is also to speed up the processes of onboarding and coaching of other agents and to give them better tools that can leverage the new technology to be more fluent in the conversations with customers. Ultimately, they all want to achieve a more intelligent orchestration of operations. And this is where the low code is really an indispensable tool and capability, where you master those processes and utilize artificial intelligence and machine learning to make them intelligent. And I'd like to illustrate that. I'd like to expand a little bit on one of the aspects of AI and machine learning. So why exactly speech analytics is so important and why that matters for contact centers? The solutions that we provide are deeply integrated, and speech analytics is like a gluing mechanism that allows for extracting information from unstructured data, such as calls and audio or text messaging. And using this approach and this technique, we can go to a lot of things. We can look into the data, which is collected through various every single conversation in the contact center. We can leverage this knowledge through the way we are analyzing the audio, and we can understand and capture emotions. On top of that, we can intelligently identify those customer interests and concerns that they express when they interact with the contact center agents. Artificial intelligence and machine learning combined through the platform together with the low code, where the processes kick in certain triggering based on the triggering events or on business rules. They let us provide the on-demand support, which is on time, and provide guidance to the agents when they are working on a call. And the results are huge. The improvements in the conversations mean that they can become shorter because your reps can get into the right points of the sale conversation through the optimum path, or they can just resolve the ticket faster. And the conversations with the most optimal outcomes become possible and even more meaningful. And the best way to illustrate that would be to show you one of the business cases that we prepared to share today. I would like to pass the microphone to Artemy and let him speak about that.
Thank you, Yuri, and hello, everyone. My name is Artemy, and today we'll tell you about the business case we had with one of our clients, and specifically, I'm talking about the DataGuard USA company. They are the document management company connecting individuals and business owners with local service providers to scan, store, and shred private information. They had about 10 operators in their call center. It is 1,000 to 1,500 calls a day, and they have the nice in contact as their telephony. So the biggest challenge that they have is that they have their call center set up. However, they didn't have this analytical data and this decision-making tool to provide even more insights to how their call center operates. So our biggest issue to solve was to give them a better understanding of their target audience, their needs, and how their call center operates. And so within our approach, first step was to start monitoring and recording the calls to get the audio data, which we can further transcribe to get the text data. And this text data can be fed into the AI solution, which can further learn from each call, and we can locate with this AI solution best practices and implement them within every operator of the call center. So having all that implemented and integrated into their pipeline, the DataGuard company can now not only listen to call recordings from like the Creatio CRM, however, they also can track different, more advanced statistics like agent talk time versus customer talk time. Did the agent use phrases and words during the call which we expect them to use? Were they scripted adherent? And all these things can affect their scorecard, so we can introduce gamification to that process with our natural language processing we used on the text data. Now, of course, as we transcribe calls, we can visualize dialogues with appropriate timestamps and speaker identification. And all this information, all this data, coupled with Creatio advanced filtering feature and flexible dashboards that can be customized with low-code tool, gives the opportunity to identify best practices of certain operator that drives sales the most and propagate them to the entire call center to increase the efficiency of your call center. Thank you. Passing the microphone back to you, Yuri.
Thank you, Artemy. Before we dive deeper into our contact center solution, I would like to give you this visual of the architecture. Once again, I'd like to encourage everyone to think of your use cases now, how that may be applied to your particular scenario or people of your organization and your end customer. And please submit your questions and ideas to us right away using the Zoom chat option. So on the left-hand side, you can see the AI solution modules. And the reason for those is to be able to augment the data flow, interactions, and information coming from a customer as it's managed through the system that connects him or her to an agent at the contact center through a phone system. So on top, we see Velvatel, which is our telephony system that connects prospects and customers through a variety of media channels, such as voice, SMS, video instant messages, and activities on the website landing pages and forms. The data is captured and then fed into the platform to the activity management cloud. Eventually, all of the data is being augmented through the AI solutions. Then it's fed into the business decision or support systems like CRM, agent quality management system, dashboarding, and business analytics. As we look into the structure of our platform, at the application level, we have several seamlessly integrated software modules. All of these modules are available at the Creatio marketplace today. So let's have a closer look at each one of them. I'd like to start with our cloud phone system, Velvatel, which can be seamlessly integrated with Creatio for making inbound and outbound calls right from the CRM. With a convenient CTI panel, you can easily contact your customers and clients and just by a click of a button, dial the extension number. You can put call on hold, transfer, mute, and unmute. During the call, an agent can access all information about the contact, including the history of previous communications. It's essential to see that getting into the context promptly and carrying out a conversation in a more personalized manner is very important. Calls are a significant part of customer communications. That's why getting the maximum value from them is highly important. At the same time, for supporting a consistent customer engagement today, it's not enough. For this reason, you need to incorporate multiple types of communication tools like emails, live chat, SMS, WhatsApp, and others to ensure a consistent omnichannel customer experience. All these channels are available in Creatio. And the next task is to extract meaningful insights from all of these communications. Thus, let's us take a closer look into our AI-powered call analytics solution. Every conversation is a great set of data. Time to dial, call duration, each speaker time, conversation tone, word use frequency, agreements, and more. As I have shown on the diagram a few slides before, we extract this data and we feed it into the business decision or support systems. Call analytics and conversational intelligence help your agents become top performers, close more deals, and resolve more customer issues. This is achieved with help of the AI engine that analyzes every call and gives you insights on such moments as does the agent ask all of the right questions that you train them to ask during the conversation? Does the agent tell all of the right things that you wanted them to tell? All calls processed by agents are listed in the CRM with primary details, such as call direction and results. You can play the recording of the call, and you can transcribe the call. In some cases, a real-time speech-to-text transcription is needed, and that's what we can offer. The platform provides call transcripts with dialogue visualization, no matter whether it's real-time or post-call, and the speakers are color-coded, and the audio track is promptly divided. And in fact, the recording of the audio track is synchronized with the text data. For our convenience, you can download the recording, export the transcript, and you can copy it to the clipboard. One of the features you can benefit from is an agent scorecard. It actually monitors and scores agent script adherence based on the present criteria. All you need to do is to set up the panel with information and questions you want to have for your agents to ask. And the natural language processing does all of the rest automatically. Another essential functionality that helps get a real-time picture of your Salesforce performance is dashboards. Those who are familiar with Creatio, they know this module. It comes out the box and shows the number of calls today, average call duration, and the leaderboard for the top performers in terms of them working on the phone. Velvetech expands this functionality by using the artificial intelligence capabilities of our platform. You can track your marketing efficiency and have a view into top skills of your agents that are scored by the AI engine. So those skills that you train your agents for, that are found in the conversations, in the transcriptions that are made by our system, they are analyzed automatically. And the dashboard shows the relationship between the calls and the conversations that you have. Primarily, you can see what skills drive more deals. The next two modules are tailored to the setting of the highly efficient inbound and outbound call centers. Talking about an inbound call center, you need to focus on making your customers spend more time talking to your agents and less time staying on hold. Call queues management and routing, call agents availability, IVR menu settings, these are all the principal functionalities that you need to set up a queue quickly. But at the same time, they allow you to map out a customer journey and craft persuasive conversations. Ultimately, properly designed workflows boost the productivity of your contact center and improve the quality of customer interactions. When it comes to the outbound contact center, the agents often deal with the hundreds of calls daily. For example, it can be a telemarketing campaign where the agents have to perform at their utmost efficiency and make calls in a very timely manner. So every minute counts. And here our tool comes in handy. With the power dialer, you can make a vast number of outbound calls, one after another, without time wasted. Being integrated with Creatio, it provides a single interface to perform such actions as calling the customers, sending them follow-up emails, taking notes, tracking the disposition of every call, and scheduling activities. All this is accompanied with by the dynamic call scripts to help contact center agents stay on top of the conversation thread. Another feature to elevate the work of your agents is the knowledge base. With the knowledge base, you can publish different materials or information that you want your agents, while being on the call, to share with customers. They can also work to handle objections. As you can see, our platform offers plenty of tools to enhance your contact center performance while leveraging powerful technologies. According to your preferences and needs, you can customize the platform and its modules to personalize the benefits you get. So when customers discuss their challenges with us, we configure a vertical solution for them using the low-code platform and the built-in customization tools. This approach provides the best solution for our clients in the fastest delivery time possible. Again, if you'd like to explore the value of the contact center solution, you can find all of its modules available on the Creatio marketplace. And we will be happy to answer your questions in our Zoom session, live Zoom session right now. We wanted to thank you all the participants for the questions that you asked during this session. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us. We appreciate your interest in improving customer experience and look forward to speaking with you soon. Have a nice day.
Thanks, Yuri. Great, great presentation. And that wraps up our presenters for today, guys. But let's not forget to take part in our quiz for today. So today's question, up to what percentages can low code reduce development time? Up to what percentage can low code reduce development time? Please enter your answers in the chat, and we will pick 3 lucky winners on tomorrow's session. While you're entering your answers, I'd like to remind everybody to don't forget to download our State of Low Code, No Code report, where it was had a global survey of over 1,000 leaders, and there are some great statistics and ideas to share within the report. Also, please be reminded to try Creatio now. We've just released our 7.18 update, and there are a lot of great features and functions that are now available. You can scan the QR code that you see here on the screen, or go out to our website, www.creatio.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we have additional content readily available. And also subscribe to our Low Code Talks, which are our podcasts that can be added into any of these platforms that you see below. And finally, just a reminder, we have day 6 of our Low Code Marathon, which promises to be an exciting day. We're going to be focusing on the financial industry of the future. So a lot of great sessions to come tomorrow, so tune in. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next session. Thanks, guys.